Hey, welcome to Color Up. I'm here at the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. I'm here with Josh, the poker manager here in the poker room. And I gotta say, I have another beginner question for you.
Okay.
I played cash game for my first time the other day and won 2 blind, I understood. And then some guy put in more money and the dealer said straddle for 10.
Oh, right,
and I had no idea what was going on. So can you help me out?
Yeah, straddling. So straddling is fun, right? It's basically adding more blind money into the pot. For the person that's making the straddle, it's actually like it's a disadvantage because you have to put the money in without looking at your hand, right? Okay. So it's another blind bet, and you know that a lot of times when you're in the blinds and you're forced to put money in and you look at your hand, it's usually not very good.
Right.
So if somebody else is at the table straddling, it's generally in your favor because they're putting more money in without looking at their hand. You get to look at your hand and decide if you want to call their bet. That's usually more than what the blinds are. So
let's go ahead and show me like a physical example. I'm more of a hands-on learner and how that would look and act.
Sure, no problem. So let's say in this example, you're on the button.
Okay.
The blinds are $1 and $2. Okay. And this next person, it's called under the gun, wants to straddle for $5. So that's another thing is in poker rooms, those rules vary from room to room.
Okay.
Here, we allow you to, in our 1-2 no limit game, we allow you to straddle between $5 and $20. Some places only allow you to straddle just the minimum amount, which in this case would be $4. Some poker rooms will let you straddle half of your stack.
Okay.
But it varies from poker room to poker room.
Gotcha. Here it's 5 to 20?
Correct.
Okay.
So here's from 5 to 20. And so the most common straddle that you'll see in a 1-2 no limit game is probably going to be $5. Okay. So that would be placed by the person directly under the gun or directly next to the blind.
Okay.
The dealer would usually announce something like straddle. They might say live 5, and then they would notify the table, straddle, it's $5 to call, and instead of $2 to call.
So basically, in my position, the blind, for all purposes, is now $5. That's basically the blind.
Right. So in this example, the blinds are 1 and 2, and then there's a $5 straddle. So you can kind of think of it as there being 3 blinds in this hand. And then it's going to be $5 to call, and then all betting is going to be based on that $5 bet. So if you wanted to raise the straddle, the minimum,
double that?
Yeah, the minimum that you would have to make it would be $10.
Okay.
Okay. If you wanted to call the straddle, obviously it would cost you $5.
So I like how you explain it. It's basically a third blind.
Yes, correct.
Can there be more than one straddle?
Well, again, that depends on which poker room that you're playing in. Here we don't allow double straddling.
Okay.
So that term double straddle would be if, let's say, you're next after this person. If you put in $10, in some poker rooms they allow this, and so now it would be a double straddle, which is you have your blind of $1, $2, you have a $5 straddle, and now you have a $10 double straddle. In our poker room, we don't allow double straddling, but some poker rooms and some poker games that you play, they do. And now, in this example, now the $10 would be the minimum to call, and so it would be a $10 straddle, and all the bets would be based on that.
Now you mentioned under the gun straddling. Can you straddle from later positions or anywhere, or how's that work?
So again, varies from room to room, but it can be called, it can be called a Mississippi straddle or a sleeper straddle. But if that allows you to straddle from any position on the table except for the blinds. And let's say now that you would like to straddle on the button, and that would be a variation that differs from room to room, right? So here we allow it, and you could straddle $5 on the button.
No, I announce that, right? Otherwise, because I'm making a call if I just throw in a chip, so I need to tell the dealer I'm straddling for $5, or?
So it would be done before the cards were dealt, but yeah, you would want to tell the dealer that you're straddling, just so that they know and that they can announce to the rest of the table that you're straddling.
But if I'm putting it out basically before the cards are dealt, is the big difference. Okay.
Yeah, if you put it out there before the cards are dealt and you don't say anything, most of the time the dealer will just say, they may ask you, or do you want to straddle, and
I'm learning to verbalize. I'm going to say straddle for $5. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. And so in this instance, the action would still start directly after the big blind. Again, this is something that the rules can vary from house to house. This is how we do it here at GSR. The straddle is $5, so it's going to cost this guest $5 to call. Now, let's say that this guest does call the $5, and now it's your turn. It hasn't been raised in front of you, so the action is going to skip you and go to the next player. And let's say that this player calls $5, and this player also calls $5. Okay. Now it goes to you last, and you get the last action, and you can. It's the same as having the option as the big blind. Now you can either check your option or raise.
So before the flop, that is where my advantage comes in of straddling, as I'm the last person.
Yep.
As long as no one else raised.
Correct, yeah. So, you have to do it, you have to place the straddle bet without looking at your cards, but you do get the last action in the hand before the flop. And so that's an advantage.
And then after the flop, everything just returns to normal?
Correct, yep. So, the dealer would bring in the bets, they would bring the flop, okay, and then now there would be another round of betting, and it would be this, the same as any other round of betting in poker.
So small blind has to go first.
Yep, small blind has to go first, action goes in order, and actually technically they could still bet a minimum of $2. Like the previous betting round, it doesn't commit the hand to being $5 for the whole hand.
Okay.
Now, in general, people aren't going to bet $2,
right,
but if they wanted to, the minimum would still be $2. All right, so let's back up for just a minute. We can go over one more thing about the straddle. The dealer is going to deal the cards to everybody, okay? And now, let's say this guest likes their hand and they want to raise to $15, okay? Since somebody has raised in front of you, you're actually going to act in turn on this particular hand. This is generally the same everywhere, but sometimes with straddles, rules can differ from poker room to poker room. Here at GSR, if you place a $5 straddle on the button and somebody raises in front of you, you're going to act in turn. Whereas before, if they just called the $5, it would skip you. These guests would act, and then you would act last. But for this example, this guest raises to 15. Now you would play in turn.
Even though I am on the button, I've got to play in turn because he raised. So I guess I got to be careful if I'm straddling, because someone can now.
Yep. So you put a $5 in blind without looking at your cards, and oftentimes you may be, feel like you're obligated or committed to.
Probably
to play.
Probably not the greatest, but
so in this case, it would cost you another $10.
I would have to go 10. Okay. Okay. So as a beginner, it's probably important that you know, because I was a little freaked out, to be honest, when I saw it. So I guess a big key takeaway is check with your local poker room to see what the rules are for the straddle. And like you said here, it's 5 to 20. Any position could do it.
You could start out just by asking the supervisor before you sit down, like, hey, do you guys allow straddles, and what are your rules for them? And they'll explain them.
So, and as you explained it, I'm probably not going to straddle it. I'm a little uncomfortable with that, but as long as other people are doing it, I get to look at my cards. He doesn't. It's probably a good thing for me to take advantage of. So
yeah, it totally is.
All right, nice. Well, I hope this helped you out, and look for more videos here at the GSR, and Josh helping us out learn the game of poker. So until next time, good luck on coloring up.